Okay, here we go. Loser Donald segment of the day. He recently picked Steve Bannon to be his campaign CEO. Now, look at how much he butchered this, as usual. So, here are the three revelations from just this weekend about Steve Bannon, now the guy running Trump's campaign. Charged with domestic violence in the past. Oops. His ex wife charges him with anti Semitism. Says he didn't want their girls to go to a school named Archer in New York because there was too many Jews in it, and he didn't like the way that Jews raise their kids, and he didn't want the girls going to a school with Jews. Jesus Christ! Now this is the guy who's proud to be, the cheerleader for the alt-right on Breitbart News. So I don't know why any of us are surprised, but it's so harsh that I still was surprised. It's amazing. How does anyone live in the modern world and feel that way about Jewish people? I mean, how do you live in New York, the East Coast? How do you not have Jewish friends? I don't understand. It's insane. Okay. So then on top of all that, the Muslims, they're the real problem, and we got to stop immigration, make sure Muslims don't come into the country. It turns out he lives with them. Okay, get a load of this. The place where Breitbart does their so-called headquarters in Washington, D.C., what they call the embassy, is actually a very expensive house owned by an Egyptian Muslim, which they have wrote glowing remarks about in the past and never mentioned that he's their landlord. I don't know if they're getting a reduced rate. I have no idea. But it turns out the guys who want to kick out Muslims actually live in a Muslim's house. There is no end to this, whether it's the hypocrisy or the incompetence. So now they're backpedaling from Steve Bannon running the campaign. Kellyanne Conway, who is the campaign manager, and Bannon's supposed to be the campaign CEO. Those are the two roles. Is now on TV, Conway is saying, Steve Bannon, what name so? Who's that? No, I'm in charge of the campaign. And Steve Bannon's no big deal. As usual, idiot loser Donald picked the wrong guy, didn't vet him, didn't find out anything about him. Earlier in the weekend, Kellyanne Conway said, domestic violence, yeah, we might not have known about that. You know why? Because you never do your homework. You guys are grotesquely incompetent. You're going to put the country in this guy's hands? The problem isn't the bigotry. Yes, that's a giant problem. The problem isn't all the other things that he's said. The problem is he's an absolute pathetic loser who couldn't manage his way out of a paper bag. So, as usual, he picked the wrong guy and never looked into all of his background and couldn't figure out, oops, this guy has all these problems. And now it's created even more trouble for his campaign. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your family, anyone thinking of voting for Trump, you don't get it. The guy's a total incompetent. You don't want to ruin the country by putting a doofus like this in charge. All he ever got was his daddy's money, and that's it. And he's blundered the rest of his life, and he's doing it right now in the middle of the campaign.